So this is a little video mostly about Marlin 2.0, but I really kind of forgot to mention that throughout the beginning of the video. There's other boards you can use and other options if you want to stay with Marlin, original Marlin, but Marlin 2.0 really does turn your printer into a different animal. So if you're going to upgrade a board, you need to make sure you have the board that has enough flash memory. It's built into the chip, not the card you stick in. There's actually on the chip, there's a little bit of flash memory, and that's where your Marlin gets stored, your firmware. The other thing to consider here that I don't really talk about in the video is if you want, what screen you want to put on it. Now, most likely, if you're going to get an SKR board, most people are going to want a TFT touchscreen. So you're going to need to make sure that your screen is compatible with the version of board that you're getting. I have not dug in that too much, but from what I have seen, the lower end boards work with the smaller screens. I don't know, maybe that's outdated information. I'm not really sure. Okay, so everybody's always putting these SKR motherboards in their printers. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, why are they doing that? My printer prints great. Well, really a lot of reasons. There's two reasons that are the main reasons. One most people know about, and that is they want the quiet driver so the printer's silent. So the other reason that's really important is that the better chipsets have more memory in them, or I should say the better processors have more memory built into them. It's a flash memory. What that does, that allows you to load more firmware information on there, and that ability unlocks capabilities inside the printer in the menus mostly, but features definitely. So to give you an example, we'll take a look at just a really garbage board here by Creality, and that is going to be these 1.4s. So it's got what, 1284p chip on it, and if you put BL Touch on here, you're lucky if you can do anything else with it. I mean, you can't baby step. You're not going to be able to do much of anything with it. So these boards, garbage. 1284p, if you got that, very limited, kind of tied in. So then you move into the better Creality boards. So these are the 2.1, 2.2. These are AT2560 chipsets. These are much better. But you still, when you get into Marlin 2.0, you're going to start running into problems on space. Also interesting about this board is they make the silent version of it, and on their non-silent version they didn't actually put the chip on. But if you do notice about these boards, a lot of the things we're going to look at on these boards are, do they have a spot for 2 Z motors? That's going to be important to some people that have 5s. The other thing we're going to look at is how many chips they actually have on the board. Some of them have multiple chips, an extra chip, which will allow you to go into dual extrusion someday, if you wanted to, or the way the board actually fits in your machine. Is it an OEM mount, or are you going to have to do some kind of finagling? So this is the 1.4. This is the Cadillac of their boards. This has the LPC 1769 chipset. So this is the turbo version. The non-turbo version of this board, just the 1.4, has the 1768 chipset, and that runs at 100 megahertz. All right, so we're going to look at what my SKR can do with the Marlin 2.0, and we're just going to go into the menu, and we'll just start by going to move, and oh, I'm sorry, ABL, and you see I got my regular Z offset, but I also have baby stepping. Baby stepping, that takes some memory. So we have, of course, our BL Touch on here. We have all kinds of settings turned on inside Marlin that we can adjust. Like I can adjust my steps on any motor right here and see what they are. It's my E-steps on my extruder. And get into a lot of these other options. Most of them don't use, but you have them here. That's just one screen. You can type in G-code at any time, send it to your printer. So we can do something like and there she goes. She's on her way home. Alright. So what else is on here? Here's where you get access to your steps, but I'm sure I'm missing some stuff. Basically, just unlocking stuff and just more features of stuff that can be done. All that is made possible. I mean, just literally displaying the menu to you right here takes memory. So all that has to be saved onto the flash that's on the processor. Okay, I'm going to go over these boards available from SKR, and we're going to talk about the different E3s, which for most people that's probably what they're going to be buying. So here's your basic E3 board, the 1.2. You're going to see you got your 4 drivers. You do not have an extra Z motor connector, so that is going to limit this to the under 3 unless you use an adapter board, which I believe you can put on. But it doesn't really make any sense to buy this board and then get the adapter board. So again, this is the 1.2. You move up to the 2.2. Let's go back up here. Now most of these are going to be the same. I believe they're all going to be the AMR M3, and they're all going to have the same amount of memory. Matter of fact, all the boards we're going to look at from SKR are going to have the same amount of memory. So if you're into Marlin 2.0, you know, it's going to give you what you need. So if we go here, you can see the particulars of the board. The other drivers, they're all going to have 2209s. Alright, let's move on to the version 2. And so the version 2, it's again still 4 drivers, but what you do have is you have the extra connector for the Z. Let's see if we can get a better picture of that. So yeah, you have ZA, ZB connectors. So if you're looking to replace a board and you're under 5, this is a candidate right here. Moving on, so this is the board that I bought. I like this board for the E3s because it has the LPC 1769 chipset, which I keep saying chipset, but it has the 1769 chip, which the turbo version runs at a 120 megahertz. So I don't believe there is a 100 megahertz. So there's not a 176,800 megahertz E3 board that I know of. Again, same drivers. So, and you have 5 drivers on this turbo board, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your double Z's. So this board is a candidate for dual extrusion. You have your E0, E1. Just a good board. I really like this board. So then you can move on to what is their Cadillac. and this is the board that is going to have replaceable drivers, but you have all the features that all the other boards had combined. So you have your dual Z, you have your 5th driver, and like I said, you have the LPC 1769. That hopefully should sort out some of the motherboard confusion for you. All right, everybody, good luck.